the hierarchy formation representation. It can also be known as cards on the wall, and problem solving type is convergent thinking. One second, I'll zoom it. Yeah. And process roles are task lead experienced in EA problem solving techniques, and content roles are the team. Team will be sitting and designing with respect to hierarchies, and communication techniques are small breakout discussions with cards on the wall or table, and subsequently using the excellent Visio to create the diagram. We'll two methods are there. You can use it by using the Excel sheet, or you can use it with respect to the software Visio to create the diagram of your hierarchy. Okay, range of duration, it may be taking of half an hour or 2 hours. Cards on wall or table, what it represents, it will be, you will be having the levels of works or levels of the person or working categories. With respect to that, they or work or process, whatever it is, it will be taking, or all the cards will be placed on the table or wall, and arrangement with respect to the priorities or with respect to the work or with respect to the requirement, we'll be arranging them with in the order of hierarchy. Okay, and that is with respect to hierarchy formation. With respect to this, if we are going with respect to background, uh, interviews are weak data collection techniques because the information depends on the one's person's opinion, which varies by their personal situation each and every day. That's why if I am taking an interview with respect to one person, always his information is always dependent on his opinion. Okay, one person is there means one person's opinion will be represented as the data of that person. Okay, which varies with respect to the personal situation or with respect to each day. If one person only, if we are taking the information of that person only will change with respect to the situations of other day. Okay, customer document are usually multi-personal products that are vetted, and the EA consultant is on surface ground if she always maintains traceability to the document source. See, always whenever we are creating any product or any device, always he or she has the product generator has to think about how the it this product will be useful for all the person or many person with respect to this uh, data collected with respect to one person or multi persons. Okay, and preparation is put the names of the primitive entities generated by the document mining onto sticky notes or printed in a large font and cut into separate pieces. See, whatever the primitive entities we have taken in the first stage, with respect to mining or data mining, means document mining or data mining you will be doing to get the proper details related to the primitive entities, what all the primitive entities are there, that you will be finding out with respect to document mining process. You will be taking out those type of primitive entities and writing it on sticky notes, or else you will be printing it in a large fonts, and you will cut it and separate it in pieces. For tabletop exercise or a sticky wall, anything you can do, you can put it on the tabletop or else you can put it on the sticky wall. Then you will get a proper picture with respect to what all the documents or what all the primitive entities we have, and what all the steps we have to take to arrange them, that will be there. 28 point times new roman, works for the tabletop, and 72 point times New Roman was for the sticky wall. That is related to font. See, table means it will be nearby. You can arrange them it easily with respect to the fonts. If it is on the wall, the distance will be more. That's why to get the proper visibility, they have given the font size of 72. That's it. Okay, and includes some information that ties each primitive back to the Excel font, Excel listing, the row number or the source documentation, that is document name and document page has to be represented. Procedure is the play a cards on the wall exercise with small groups and organize each list of primitives from the document mining into hierarchy, possibly inventing some new categories also you can do in the middle of the tree, and redraw this electrically and print in the readable poster. When completed, you have 6 hierarchies with populate which populate the row 2. That is but the results with the customer leads. You can communicate with respect to that the customer leads. Okay, and how to create that one, what they have told you. See, you need to have a 6 hierarchies with respect to the rows. Means how, when with respect to the questions and all, you are creating one by one hierarchies for representation of your whole one row. That is row 2. Okay. Here you can see that. One sec. Visio hierarchy diagram technique. With respect to that, Visio is one format of representation of your hierarchy. Format the list of definition in Excel with columns as shown in the figure. You can see that. So supervisor ID and ID number, goal name and goal identification, and source details. All those information has to be represented in one Excel sheet. Okay. How they have represented, superior ID will be represented here. ID number will be represented here. Goal name is leading the way in the use of enterprise architecture to align the business and technology and provide a unified view. That is related to goal name. What we want to reach. Goal definition is the EA department instills EA awareness and respect across the agency, leads discovery of data architecture solution, promotes the innovative systems and services, and promotes the innovative technologies. All those things come under goal identification. Means what all the type of systems we want, what all the innovative technologies we have to implement, and what all the architecture solutions and data architecture solutions. All those things come under goal definition. And sources are the EA department goals and documents, new mission statement, etc. As of what all the dates are there with respect to that. And source details are each item listed in the definition are the goal, and number 3 is from the source document. You have to take it from the source document, all the details. If you are going for second ID, that is initialization of an enterprise architecture program. You have to initialize the enterprise architecture program. The EA department administrators an architecture program that enables the enterprise to achieve enterprise business and technology efficiency and agility. And with some other with respect to that, the enterprise architecture program promotes an architectural framework that aligns business and technology to overcome the emerging challenges of healthcare. That also one more example. The EA department program utilizes the framework of architectural strategies, process, and uh, artifacts that promotes efficient and effective delivery of solutions to advance the agency healthcare strategies. All those related to healthcare institution or healthcare strategies and all. That is one more goal they are taking. The source is enterprise architecture mission statements has to be represented in the document format. Source details are not there. If it is there, you have to mention. If not there, no need to worry with respect to. And ID with respect to ID1, obtain a leadership by in and support for the enterprise architecture program, that is strengthen the leadership involvement in enterprise architecture brainstorming sessions has to be given to the leaders or workers, and definitions are last built under the leadership influence, that is with respect to the P2, and measurement third bullet under the leadership influence with respect to P2. And if you are going with respect to in the same source, if you are going for the two different IDs or two different ID you want to select, at that time, what we have to do, the numbering should be different. How? See, in the previous one, session ID was not represented. First ID, I have taken 0, next ID with a different goal. Then you have to go for another uh, session ID number and ID number, two different. Next, I have taken the session ID as 1 and ID number within that one, we have two different goals. For that reason, I have taken the extension numbers, that is 1.1 and 1.2, and obtain the leadership by in the source with respect to enterprise and architecture program. If we are going for 1.2, establish a useful, well structured and accessible knowledge base, that is with respect to EA department provides a consistent view across all the program and service areas to support the planning and decision making. With respect to planning and decision making, and meta context and source of standard for all the levels of interoperability and intermediate operation with respect to one department to another department, that you can see here. And goal name is enterprise administrative and procedures guide manual has to be needed, and EA is a strategic resource that helps the enterprise plan and invest in the implement, that is related to Visio hierarchy diagram technique. First, we are seeing with respect to how to create the Excel sheet with respect to columns, with respect to goal definitions. And this Excel format is for entity dictionary, and second step is for define the hierarchy using the first two columns, and that is superior ID and ID. The first row should be ID 0, and which is the root of hierarchy tree. When all the rows of the super ID 0 are directly under the root, each new node has a unique ID number, and nodes that use its ID as their superior ID are child nodes, and figure 3.4 shows the example with respect to that. See, you can see here, root node is given, under that you have superiority 0, and under that 1 is there. Under the root 1 you have 1.1 and 1.2, and in the same way for 0 you have one more superiority, that is 2. Under the root 2 you have 2.1, 2.2, and under this 2.1 you have 2.1.1. That is the representation of your superior ID and ID numbers with respect to goal names. Okay, you can see here Once I'll show you the Excel sheet once again. Here you can see that this will be 0 only because first row will be always 0 with respect to superior ID. Within that you have a ID number 0, and under this ID number 0 you have a subroot of 1, and in this subroot 1 you have a two subroots, that is 1.1 and 1.2, that you will be representing in this format to represent the proper hierarchy structure. Okay, that is superior ID is nil here. If you can take it as a 0, that is also okay. ID number is 0. Under this 0 you have a another ID, that is 1. Root node is 0, and under this you have 1. Under this root 1 you have a two leaf nodes, that is 1.1 and 1.2. If I am going once again, the superiority is 0, but under this you have a root number 2. Within this you have a interior node and leaf node as what 2.1 and 2.2. Interior node, because why we are taking 2.1 as an interior node, because 2.1 also represents as a node, one more node, because it extends the leaf nodes under this 2.1. That's why 2.1.1 represents the leaf node under this one. Okay. This is simple tree with two main branches and three levels. To automatically convert this into a hierarchy diagram, save this file, close it and open Visio, Visio section. That is, if you have Visio 2010, click business diagram under template categories. You can go for the template categories and you can select for the business category and invoke the business function into Visio. Okay, and click the organization chart wizard, and what you can do here is see organization chart wizard, you can select and click to create. If you are going for create option and click next twice, click the browse button and open the Excel file and click next and set the drop down menu as shown in the figure, and ID on the top line and superior ID on the second line. So you can see here top line should be ID number, second ID should be superior ID, and if you want to give the first name and second names and all, you can give it. If not, it is okay. Then you can give it a next, click on the next and click the next again. Add the goal name to the displayed field as shown here. You can write it here. Goal identity definition, source details. You can go with the goal name. If you want the goal name, you can select the goal. You can add it or you can remove it. Whichever you want to represent, you can go for that. Select the goal name. Then next, and make sure that I want to specify how much of my organization to display on each page. Radio button to select the shown, selected as shown. You can see here I want to specify how much of my organization to display on each page, that you have to select. Then next, click on the next. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here you can see. And next, then this also done. Next, and then click next to finish. And in few seconds, you will get the diagram with respect to whatever we have shown in this. Here is, as we have seen, the root node is 0. Under this, you have a root 1 and 2, and under this root 1, you have two leaf nodes, that is 1.2 and 1.1 and 1.2. In this, you don't have any interior node because you don't have any extensions or the extended leaf nodes from these interior nodes of 1.2 and 1.1. And if you are going for the root 2, you have two leaf nodes in that 2.1 and 2.2, but 2.1 has become interior node because it has an extension of the leaf node of 2.1.1. For that reason, you can see here you have a interior node 1, 2 under nodes and 4 leaf nodes. Okay, this is the representation or generation of your hierarchy by using Visio software. Okay, I'll try to install with respect to that Visio software, and then we can run that one in the next class. Before next class, I'll be I'll try to install that Visio software. Is it visible or is it working or not? That I'll verify with respect to that, and then we can run with respect to that. If I get any video, I'll play at the end of the class for you people with respect to this video technology, how to run that one, how to execute that one, and how to represent it. Okay, with respect to after, as the node and under roots and leaf nodes, everything has been generated. You can enter the text how much ever you want to write it, or see, if you want to represent the root node as a administrative section, and in this you can represent them as a departments, and then under this what all the levels are there, that also you can represent in text, represent them in the text or implement them in the text. Then it will be easy for us to understand the overall hierarchy with respect to the rows or columns. Okay, that's why you can represent or enlarge the text with respect to readability.